To start, Freud believed that the mind consists of three systems that would make up the personality. These three systems are the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is the first system, which is developed at birth. The id is the pleasure-seeking principle that seeks for gratification without the consideration of people, social customs, or consequences. Opposite to the id would be the superego. The superego is the system that is nurtured during your childhood and continues to develop through your lifespan. The superego is the system that incorporates the values of the community or families. Think of the superego as the angel of your mind, while your id would be your little devil. Lastly is the ego. The ego is developed within the early years of life and is considered the mediator of the id and the superego. This is because it suppresses the wants of the id by using the rationality and logic of the superego. The conscious is the part of the mind that one is aware of in the present moment. For example, you are currently conscious of watching this video, your current environments, and noises or sounds you might hear around you. However, even though you might be aware of multiple things at once, this only accounts for around 10% of the work that your mind does daily. Subconscious is where 50 to 60% of all the mind's mental processes happens. This part of the mind is where recent memories and information are held and easy to recall, but you are not constantly thinking of. For example, you are not currently thinking of your birth date, but now that it is brought up, you can easily recall it. Everyday info, such as recurring thoughts, both negative and positive, habits, and feelings are also present in the subconscious mind. Last, but certainly not least, is the unconscious. The unconscious makes up 30 to 40% of the mind's mental activities, but holds a very vital part. The unconscious is where all past memories and experiences remain that have been repressed because of their traumatic nature, have been purposely forgotten, or no longer have an importance to us. This is why the unconscious is often considered to be the basement of our mind. Our habits, beliefs, and behaviors are formed from these past memories and experiences. This is why Freud psychoanalyzed the unconscious mind in order to modify behaviors.
Psychoanalysis was developed by Sigmund Freud between 1885 and 1939. Psychoanalytical theory is based on the idea that all of our actions and behaviors stem from repressed experiences and emotions. He also strongly believed that a lot of our confusing impulses and urges are caused by childhood afflictions. By addressing these issues and making the unconscious conscious, Freud believed we could then work to change our behavior. Psychoanalysis is still widely practiced and continues to be advanced by the psychology community. Anna O. was a patient of Joseph Breuer, Freud's colleague and friend. Anna was an intelligent 21-year-old who began suffering from paralysis in her right arm and leg, involuntary eye movement, hydrophobia, energy hallucinations, anxiety, and language difficulties. This occurred after Anna passed away from tuberculosis. After this, her health significantly declined. She spent her days in an extremely anxious state and often suffered from frightening hallucinations. After a time, she was diagnosed with hysteria. Hysteria is the conversion of psychological stress into physical symptoms. Breuer then began using hypnosis. He thought if Anna discussed what she saw in a hypnotic state, then these tormenting hallucinations might cease. After noticing the positive impact this had on Anna, Breuer started using what would later be defined as talk therapy as Anna's main source of treatment. By having Anna talk about her dreams and hallucinations, Breuer was able to find a psychological meaning behind it. Anna shared many of her dreams with Breuer, who later shared them with Freud. These dreams gave them insight to many of her symptoms. With this treatment, Anna began to make strides. She eventually made a slow recovery and was cured of her symptoms of hysteria. This case was crucial in Freud's development of the psychoanalytic theory. Breuer and Freud in 1895 then went on to write Studies on Hysteria. The case of Anna was included alongside several other case studies and patients they had treated. Breuer and Freud did, however, go their separate ways because of Freud's controversial theories that were heavily related to sexuality. Freud continued to advance his theories until his death in 1939.
Stage 1 is the oral stage, which normally occurs between birth to 1 year. The erogenous zones to focus on in this stage are the mouth. This is due to the fact that infants have a sucking reflex and an automatic desire towards their mother's breast. However, the major developmental task that infants deal with is the weaning process, which involves them becoming less reliant on their caretakers. If this is not satisfied, then they can end up with a number of problems, including drinking, smoking, overeating, or nail biting. Stage 2 refers to the anal stage, which occurs between 1 to 3-year-olds. The erogenous zone that is being focused on in this stage is the anus. This is due to the fact that children need to acquire the ability to take control over their bodily functions. This occurs through toilet training. Freud believed that in order to succeed at this stage, parents needed to approach toilet training in a positive and encouraging manner, such as using praises and rewards. By approaching toilet training in this manner, Freud believed it would serve as the foundation for individuals to develop characteristics including competence, imagination, and productiveness. However, if children were punished or made to feel shame when they had accidents, then they would develop characteristics that include being stubborn, excessively frugal, or extremely order-focused. Stage 3 focuses on the phallic stage, which occurs between ages 4 and 5 in children. The erogenous zone that is studied in this phase is the genitals. As children are beginning to understand the complex differences between the male and female body, they are also dealing with feelings from the Oedipus complex as well as the Electra complex. The Oedipus complex refers to feelings that boys have, in the sense of being jealous of their father and wanting to replace him in order to have the mother all to themselves. However, along the same lines, the child has a fear that he might be disciplined from his father for having these feelings. This is also known as castration anxiety, according to Freud. The Electra complex, on the other hand, refers to similar feelings, however, this time experienced by young girls. All in all, if children were fixated at this stage, they would adopt characteristics of recklessness or arrogance. Stage 4 refers to the latency stage, which normally occurs between 6 and 12-year-olds. This period is a time to explore other areas in their life, rather than focus on sexual energy, although it is still present. This is a time in their life where they become more interested in school and more concerned with creating relationships with peers, as well as exploring their own interests and hobbies. This phase in their life is important, as it helps them develop defense mechanisms such as repression, denial, or projection, as well as social and communication skills. Stage 5 focuses on the genital stage, which occurs between the ages of 13 and 18 as puberty begins. This stage focuses on the genitals as the erogenous zone. Throughout this final stage, individuals start to cultivate a strong sexual interest towards the opposite sex. At this stage, individuals become not only interested in their own needs, but begin to worry about the welfare of others around them as well. If individuals have completed all of the phases successfully, then they should emerge with a sincere interest in others and mature sexually.